listening to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Your hosts, Nate and John, cover their shared history with the band, discover new music together, and cover the farthest reaches of the Deep Purple family tree and beyond. Here's Nate and John now.
Welcome to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Today's episode is episode number 329, The Flower Pot Men. And coming to you from the suburbs of Chicago, where we are experiencing a heat wave, I'm your host, Nathan Beaudry.
And coming to you from the suburbs of Providence, I'm your co-host, John Matola.
I think Zoom cut that out.
Oh, damn it.
Oh,
I forgot to turn
oh,
the
that
thing.
sounds terrible now. Yeah, I'm going to have to use the Zoom audio. I can paste it in from what you send me.
No, wait a minute.
Okay,
Wait, does it sound terrible now or now?
It sounds good now.
And bad now?
Now it sounds like a fan.
Okay, well, yeah. And coming to you from the suburbs of Providence, I'm your co-host, John
Hotter than hell, even at
midnight. Matola.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a nationwide heat wave. Everyone's having it.
Yeah, this is, I think they said it's since the early 1900s. This time
my
of year.
kids think I was born.
Yeah.
That's kids universally now. They're like, oh, my parents were born in the 1900s, which you assume is like 1906 or something.
The late 1900s,
Yeah,
but still,
later.
it sounds bad.
Yeah.
But the early 1900s, I heard something like since like 1906 or something like that, 1913. It hasn't been this hot, at least here, since then. At this time of year, it was like when I got into my car today, it read 105 degrees, which that's pretty wild for over here.
And for Celsius, that's got to be like over 40, I think. Let's see. 105.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah, 40.5. Oh, it was right on.
But one of the trends that I'm seeing online now is I guess that there are news reports or tips for like, all right, if you run your air conditioner, keep it at 78 degrees, and people are like, are you nuts? And I mean, I'm sure it's an electricity thing.
What kind of tip is that?
A stupid one. Are you kidding me?
I mean, it's a good tip. It's a good tip to save electricity, but you could also be like, to save on a good tip is never take a shower. You'll save money on your water bill. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Don't flush.
only flush once a week, whether you need to or not.
Yeah, well, there are probably people out there that do that, but yeah, I don't even know why my air conditioner comes with like any sort of like a temperature dial, because mine never moves. It's always down to as low as it could possibly be. Mm-hmm. Like I want to be able to store meat in my living room. Okay, I want it so cold in here.
Is that Rocky in the background boxing a side of beef?
Well, I don't know. It's you're the one with somebody behind you in this frame. Yeah, you.
It's me. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it screwed me up a little bit. I saw like double Nate, and I'm just like, what am I?
Okay, so yeah, this is the cutout of me that my buddies made and took with them to Kentucky one year because I couldn't go. And he had a blast. He was behind the bar with the bartenders and all this sorts of crazy stuff. And then one day I came home from work and it was in my front lawn. So now it's mine. And my dog is terrified of this thing. She freaks out when she sees it. But I did set it up for one of our recordings a while back, and I forgot I left it up, and I came down the stairs, and it does like scared the living crap out of me, because you just see this guy standing over there. It's very photorealistic.
So, well, yeah, it is. I mean,
who the hell is this guy? And it's like, oh, it's me.
You basically, you scared yourself.
I scared the crap out of myself. But hey, folks, we're not here to talk about whatever the hell we're talking about. We're here to talk about the Flower Pot Men. But first, we have to talk about how to support our show because, as you may know, our show is 100% listener supported and ad-free. So if you receive some value from our show, please consider supporting us. Give us some value back. You can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That's free value. You can buy some merch at our Etsy store. You can become a patron on Patreon or on PayPal for as little as $1 a month. You can help support the show. You can support us on Cash App, Ko-fi, super thanks on YouTube. There's all sorts of stuff flying around out there. So check out deeppurplepodcast.com for more information or check one of our social media platforms. If you become a patron, one of your benefits is you get to join our patrons only Discord, join in the discussion. You can have access to our rating spreadsheet. You get invites for our live stream episodes, links to submission for all of our album rankings episodes, and also access to banned video episodes on Patreon. Haven't had a video, haven't as many videos banned lately, but speaking of patrons coming in at our executive level at the in memoriam tier, we have the wonderful late Gerald Jerry Kelly and family. At the $25 Uncommon Man tier, we have Ovis Nakvi and Purple Maniac. At the 20 is Plenty tier, we have Alan. At the 10-pound Good Doctor tier, we have Dr. Mike Catan. At the Turn It Up to $11 tier, Clay Wambacher, also known as our first ever patron. Frank Teelgard Mortensen, Mickelstein, Will Porter, PhDPP, and Michael, don't call him Bradford Bagford. At the $10 Someone Came tier, Ryan M., Jeff Bryce, Victor Campos, Better Call Saul Evans. And Peter from Illinois. And at the Deep Thoughts by John Matola tier, we have Fielding Fowler.
And now, Deep Thoughts by John Matola.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Okay. I thought you were going to say something else.
To add. I'm like, yeah, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you so much to everyone for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast.
Who was that clip from? Did the rollback curate it?
He has sent me an episode with more clips, and I haven't gotten around to adding them in yet. So,
Okay.
All right. So before we get into the meat of this week's episode, a few things. One is our next album rankings show, which you can rank and submit your rankings to if you're a patron. Who do we think we are? Get your rankings to us by August 18th. Become a patron of the show if you want to join the live stream and submit rankings. Then, of course, we have one segment we need to attend to. And that is, of course, Postcards from the Edge of Connecticut. And this week, we got a few things. One is this postcard right here. That, it's a colorful little postcard with a bunch of, what is it? A bunch of booze-related things. So it's from Ireland. Greetings from Ireland! And then it says greetings from Ireland in a bunch of different languages. One of them I recognize as German because it's got that silly-looking B and some umlauts. Anyway, it says, "Hey, Nate and Uncle John. Now here's some Irish pubs for you. I saw the Rory Gallagher statue next to Ulster Hall in Belfast. The Roback." So Roback is in his transatlantic state of mind. This one is a letter. I'm not going to show you the other side, but it has a sticker on it, which has the name of the woman who is related to Peter Gardot by marriage. I will not give her real name, but I'm assuming it's not from her, that he just stole one of her labels there. Oh, maybe it is from her. It is a double celebration invite to attend the graduation party of the child Roback and the sexagenarian Peter
Gardot.
I'm too bad I can't go. If it was a little closer, if it was less than 1,000 miles. Oh, some cute pictures of the younger Roback. Did you get one of these as well? I hope so, since you're a lot closer.
Yes.
You may go. You have a better chance than I do of going.
Yeah, I do. But is this episode gonna come out before this or after?
This is gonna come out way after. So sorry that I wasn't there. I hope everyone was well behaved, and congratulations to your daughter and to you.
I got the same thing too. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go. It's the same exact day as another celebration. Actually, I have a relative that is also turning 60, and that will be her birthday.
Oh, okay.
So coincidence. So I'll be there in spirit. But I got a post-it from Pete attached to the invitation. Uncle John, bring Uncle Rich and Uncle Steve if available. Don't have Uncle Rich play Gary Moore. Want you to be awake, Peter. So I think that's assuming that we would drive up together. Tell him not to play Gary Moore.
Yeah.
But that's very nice. Very nice of the Gardos to invite us. I'm very sorry I wouldn't be able to attend either, even though I could attend. You could not. You could, but it would be harder.
There and it's also the weekend of my my boy's birthday, so.
Oh wow, that's right. Yeah.
So I got going through the stack of Ralphie postcards. Ralph, our most prolific postcarder, another one from the Kentucky's official rest stop, Outhouse. This one says, "Dear Nate, I moved on to number 26. Rainbow is pretty good. I still like purple better. Will you do more purple episodes soon? John is like moonshine, sometimes harsh. I can tell he is a good man, though. Take care, Ralphie."
Ralphie seems to have a lot of opinions on me.
He does.
Like, he talks a lot about the episodes, and then I noticed that some of the earlier ones you've read is that John doesn't talk a lot
about you.
Yeah, John doesn't talk a lot. Oh, John's talking a little bit more. John's very harsh. Yes, I am. I am all of those at some point.
We've got a postcard celebrating Kentucky moonshine. It's just like some barrels in the woods. It says, "Dear Nate, listen to number 27. Play me out. That Hughes kid is spacey in a good way. I bet he will go for it if he doesn't get into trouble like kids sometimes do. Stay clean, Ralphie."
Okay.
Then we have another one. He's burning through all of his Kentucky postcards here. Another the same like abandoned still in the woods here. It says, "Dear Nate, I listened to number 36. Coverdale tweets. Don't take this the wrong way, but this train is off the rails. I hope to hear Deep Purple soon. Enjoy, Ralphie." And unfortunately, that'd be the whole episode if I keep going through all the postcards that have backed up. Although, I guess these will be slightly out of order because of the way we're recording, but oh well.
Hey, I have one more too.
Oh, okay.
Since we had a doubles of the double Gardeau celebration. So I got this.
What's that? Some funky looking buildings with faces.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Crazy building here. And this is this is from let me see. Deutsche Post Priority was sent. John, guten Tag from Braunschweig. Gleiven. Braunschweig.
Pain in the Gleiven.
Since you have the most Riz, you get the Rizzy. I don't know what he wrote here. Rizzy House.
The Rizzy House.
Rizzy Hoozy postcard for you, Peter.
All right. Nice. Yeah, we're getting a lot of transatlantic postcards lately.
And this is on the back of it, it shows a happy Oh, okay. Well, I should have read that. All right. So I guess the name of this, if you can see up here, hang on, just make sure I cover my address, is the Rizzy House.
Oh, the Rizzy House. Okay.
So it's called the Rizzy House. Now I get it. Since you have the most Riz, you get the Rizzy House postcard for you, Peter.
I thought he was just saying it's a Rizzy house because like the house has like, does the house have lips?
No, it's just called the
That
Rizzy.
makes you Rizzy. Oh, I have lips. I have so much Riz.
Well, then I guess everybody has it.
Well, most people. All right. So here we are this week to talk about the Flower Pot Men. So, John, what do you know about what's your history with the Flower Pot Men?
Well, my history goes back as far as to the episode where you told me that one time John Lord and Nick Simper were in a band called the Flower Pot Men.
And then we never talked about it again.
And that's it. You may have played a clip. I don't know. As we discussed before the episode, the idea of these two in a band calms my nerves, but I'm sure that the music won't do anything for them.
The music will get you riled back up. Well, which is funny because it's like hippy dippy 60s stuff, which is generally not your wheelhouse, but it should be the opposite of riling you up, right? It's so
well, yeah, I mean it's early John
easy
Lord.
Breezy to fit with our breezy summer format that we're
yeah, the breezy summer format is blowing through here like a fucking hurricane. It's actually, especially this week. We got late. Nate and I have to record like an episode a day or something to keep up.
Yeah, but then we get our summer vacation. Then we can have what we did on our summer vacation episode.
Oh yeah.
So this band formed in 1967. It was John Carter and Ken Lewis of the Ivy League that formed the group. So in 1966, Brian Wilson decided he was not going to tour with the Beach Boys anymore. He wanted to focus on studio stuff. And then the Beatles did the same thing. And then lesser known John Carter said, well, if they're going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm not touring anymore.
Yeah.
Screw that. I'm just doing recording.
Yeah. And his fans said, oh, no.
No, not John Carter. But this is a pretty prolific songwriter.
Yeah.
He partnered with other songwriters. He worked on a project called the Ministry of Sound, which wrote the song Time and Motion Man, which was recorded by none other than Episode 6. He also decided to write the song Let's Go to San Francisco after reading so much about the bands on the West Coast of the United States, along with the whole scene that was developing on the time. But I don't think he'd ever been there. So it's kind of like My Woman from Tokyo. It was this idea of, Deep Purple wrote it without ever having gone to Tokyo yet. And, this idea. So they're dropping in little things about the rising sun and all that just to kind of set, it's, stereotypes to kind of imagine what it would be like to have this woman from Tokyo. And then this is kind of the same thing, like, oh, groovy, man. I've seen this Haight-Ashbury nonsense on TV. So on telly, and I'm going to write a song about what it must be like there. So it ends up being a really big hit in the UK, makes it to number 4 in the charts. But to be played in the US, the band had to change their name to the Flower Pots to avoid the drug reference. Because as we've talked about before, the US is soft as pudding. Can't even name a song, Ring That Neck. They're terrified in the US of anything like this. So I guess that was kind of the idea of the band. It's like flower power, but also pot man.
Well, I mean, that flower power.
Yes, the flower of the weed. Like the
yes,
fruit,
the flower
the fruit
pot.
of the vine for grapes is the flower of the weed. I don't think there's any flowers involved.
Flower pot men.
Exactly.
Get it?
They're pot men. They should just name themselves the pot men.
Flower pot, comma, men. ...
men. So John had been the lead singer on this track on the recording, but he did not want to do it live. So the lead singers included Tony Burrows, Neil Landon, Robin Shaw, and Peter Nelson. And they decided after a short time, hey, we want to do some of these songs live. So before we get into that, let's listen to the track. Now, this does not include anybody from Deep Purple, but we're going to just listen to the track, how it was recorded, and how it reached number 4 in the UK track. So here it is. Let's go to San Francisco, parts 1 and 2.
So Lorde and Simper weren't on this.
They are not on this, but this, I was lucky enough, Cherry Red sent me a promo copy of the anthology of this that just came out, Midsummer Dreaming, an anthology 1967 and 1970. In fact, Nick Simper, I reached out to him to ask him about a photo I found, and he told me that this had just come out, so. It sounds, even though I'm not familiar with the song, it sounds very familiar.
Well, yeah, you can tell that they're really harping on a lot of the musical trends at the time. Definitely vocally trying to be very Beach Boys.
Yep. One thing I don't think they nailed, though, is the length of this song. It's so long.
How long is it?
What's that?
How long is it?
It's like over 6 minutes long.
Jesus Christ. What is it? Like, songs like this would usually be like half the time.
Not even. Like, sometimes these songs are like 2 minutes and 3 seconds or something.
What, are they trying to be Iron Butterfly? I mean, those are the only ones, like, the jam bands that kind of, like, not this. This stuff is very, like, Flower Power type of stuff, whereas it's like the heavier, kind of more countercultural stuff was, they were doing the Metallica length tracks, Yep.
I love the drawing a comparison to Metallica with this.
Well, I mean, just the length of the songs.
Yeah,
Iron Maiden.
I wonder if they're going to come up with any 3-part guitar harmonies.
I mean, that's where we grew up with. You think of like a super long song from when we grew up, and what band do you think of? Metallica. They were the only ones that had like 6-7 minute long songs, right?
It should be nothing for like Dream Theater.
All right, well.
Yeah, but I've got to imagine. So I know that the live version of this that we will be able to hear that does have Lorde and Simper and everything is like around 3 minutes. So they clearly must have done, or maybe they just did just part 1, but I don't know what part 2 means. So I guess we'll hear.
Like the last however long we didn't need. We needed like maybe a minute and a half of this.
Yeah, this could, unless it takes a wild turn, this has already overstayed its welcome here. Maybe there's a 3-minute drum solo in it.
If there is, then we could, you can skip it.
Okay, so it's fading out now. So this must be like the part 1, but it's all one track, so I don't know.
Slow fade.
It's a very low, like I feel like that for the style of song, it's very low tempo. Like some organ here. Looks like it's putting you to sleep.
What are they doing? Now they're just like screwing off over here.
Yeah, I feel like they could have taken that first part that was like maybe 3.5, 4 minutes long, kicked the tempo up a bit,
Yeah.
And had a 2.5-minute song. But hey, it made it to number 4. What do we know?
Very quiet. Is it quiet because you have the volume down, or is that the volume that it's being played at?
Yeah, I turned it down a little bit.
Oh, okay. You know, that just makes me think. I was trying to turn my radio up today in my car, and it wouldn't go above 10. You know, it goes from like 0 to like, I don't know, 50.
Yep.
It wouldn't go past 10. And it was like about this quiet. And the warning popped up on my screen. It says, volume restricted due to excessive heat. It wouldn't let me turn up my radio because it was too hot out. Have you ever heard of that? What is that?
No. Well, how does it make any sense? Like, if anything, you might roll down your windows because it's so hot and need to turn up the radio.
The only way it'd be rolling down my windows is if I enjoyed, like, you know, opening up an oven and letting a friggin' heat blast in my face, which I don't, except if it's winter. What's happening?
All right, that's it.
Ugh.
Oh. You hear the sounds of seagulls.
Ugh, what a slog.
Yeah, I mean, it's too long for that style of a song.
I mean, honestly, it sounded like, maybe at this point, these songs all sound like this, but it sounded like a parody of a song from the 60s.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, like one of the, you know, in Spinal Tap when they show their skiffle stuff, or in that same vein, the what is it? The
Listen
Mighty
to the
Wind.
Listen to the Flower People.
Did you ever see A Mighty Wind? Which is all the guys from Spinal Tap. It's the same thing, but it's with folk music.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great, it's hilarious. But yeah, they do some like early 60s stuff like that, but it's done like, it's kind of like a parody, but it's also done with like kind of love for the genre as well. But it's very funny. Yeah, so that's a song that I believe is too long. It's just my thoughts.
I believe as well.
You believe. I want to believe. So yeah, that's the original mono version. It's the single that started this up. Then we've got this kind of this whole anthology here, which kind of goes through everything that they did. And I'm not going to go anything past the Deep Purple involvement. But you know what? Before we do the live tracks, it's a little early in the episode, but before we do the live tracks, I am going to thank the next level of patrons so that we can get right into it and close up after that. So, sorry, my windows are acting crazy here. The next round of patrons is, of course, our core level patrons. Coming in at the $6.99 new nice price tier, we have Spike the Rock Cat's Ghost and Sugar Tea. At the $6.66 tier, we have Steve Coldwell.
Steve.
Arthur Smith.
Getting support from the patron Arthur Smith.
Anton Glaving.
Pain in the glaving.
And Charles Meadows. At the $6.65 Almost Evil tier, Kenny Wymore and Richie Sucksmith. At the 70 Norwegian kroner tier, we have Kai Runa Yes, I'm Norwegian Olsen. At the $5.99 The Nice Price tier, Robert Smith. At the 60 kroner Scandinavian Nights tier, we have DJ Newt Martin Johansson. At the €5.50 tier, we have Merline Rota. And at the £4 tier, a one Duncan Leask.
Nothing I want.
Oh, you know what?
Hungry horse. Hungry horse.
We gotta do Hungry Horse for the War Horse connections here. which we'll get to. And at the $5 money lender tier, John Convery, German Heindel, Adrian Hernandez, Jesper Alman, Alexei the Perfect Stranger Slepikov, Kev Roberts, Scott Zerns, Cynthia Doobie, Raf Calf,
My Czechoslovakian is not so good.
Coyote Bongwater, John Maselli.
No, Kelly Clarkson!
Whoops. John Maselli.
Oh, yeah, we were doing great. Had to take you to school in a Sherman tank.
Sarah Sanders.
No, Kelly Clarkson!
For real that time. Jelly Bean. Evan Robeson. Purple Swede.
Sweet, 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 sweet.
And Ralphie Lee. Thank you so much to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast. All right, so we've heard about it before. We've heard the story of the formation of Deep Purple. Richie was floating around. Chris Curtis called him up, wants to start this band. And then there was this connection to John Lord. He was introduced to John Lord, who must have been right between the Artwoods, which had changed their name to St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And then he must have left them to join this band to be the backing band for the Flower Pot Men, which they called The Garden. Get it? So he is the way they got them is there was this band called the Sundial, and it featured John Lord on keyboards, Nick Simper on bass, Ged Peck, who was the guitarist for Warhorse, on guitar, and Carlo Little on drums, who was like fabulous. I know we've talked about him before. Fabulous studio drummer. He was a drummer for Johnny Kidd and the Pirates. Everyone wanted this guy. He even auditioned for Deep Purple. So he was kind of a guy that was around and in the scene, and they're the backing band for this. So it's basically the Sundial is backing up these four crooning Flower Pot Men, who are made up of Neil Landon on lead vocals, who founded the band Fat Mattress, which I've always loved the name of, with Noel Redding. Then we had Pete Nelson on lead vocals as well. He went on to a band called White Plains, which is kind of funny to me because White Plains is like a suburb of New York that was kind of near where we used to live. Tony Burrows, he went on to record something that we'll talk about a little bit later. And Robin Shaw, who was also in the band White Plains. So we have 5 tracks from this live BBC session. The only, as far as I know, existing tracks of the Flower Pot Men performing with the Sundial backing band featuring John Lord and Nick Simper. So here we go, a much more restrained and shorter version of Let's Go to San Francisco live on the BBC.
Lord tickling the ivories.
Must be. Not making the full advantage of John Lord.
Or Nikki. Dun dun. Dun dun. Sounds like the album track.
Yeah, it sounds very similar, right?
This was live?
Yeah.
No. Sounds too perfect.
Hey. It's a good band. Well, it's
Yeah,
a
all
lot
right,
shorter.
I guess these people weren't slouches then.
No. Get some of those harmony guys can really deliver. See, they don't do quite as... this part sounds almost like
God only knows
on the original.
So I was thinking the beach. God only knows. Oh
yeah.
You know the dang 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 dang
Yeah.
dang.
That's
Good
what they're
work.
going for.
Good work. File an injunction. Nah, I mean, they all, it's a formula back then.
Yeah.
I like the little triumphant thing in the background. Little triumphant horn. Yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah. Very happy, very triumphant.
Yeah, they do more ba-ba-bas here. Baya!
Baya. Can I get a baya?
Baya. There was a guy, I just remembered. There was this guy in New York, like he was just one of the crazies that used to hang around where I worked.
Yeah.
And he would just go, Baya! But he was one of like the borderline famous New York guys. Like some homeless guy, poor guy, out of his mind. You just go, Baya! Like you'd see him on the subway sometimes. Oh man, I gotta ask Jen if she remembers the Baya guy.
That's great.
I haven't thought about him in 20 years.
Baya!
So I feel like they kept the tempo of this one pretty true to the original, but I feel like it had slightly more energy to it. Not a ton.
I didn't really notice a difference, to be honest.
Those like little interludes, it wasn't as kind of depressing as the other one.
I mean, if you told me that was 6 minutes, I would have believed you. No, really, how long was it though?
It was 3.
No, yeah, it sounded longer.
A little over 3, 3:15 maybe.
I mean, this isn't my jam.
Yeah. Well, maybe this is your jam, because here they are doing a cover of a song I know you're familiar with, because everyone's familiar with it. And that is California Dreaming.
Could there be any more of a 60s song?
Yeah. I love this song.
I think it's I think it's good. I think that the chord changes in the chorus are really good. They're very like kind of like sad sounding.
It's brilliant.
But this is another one of those songs where if you're watching a movie and they want you to know that it's set in the 60s, this will be playing in the background.
Oh yeah.
So this is like the hippie song. Fortunate Son is the We're Going to War, Vietnam War song.
Yes, and then there's some that they'll throw in all along the watchtower.
Along the watchtower. Yup. See, we know.
Yeah, with the Hendrix version, of course.
Yeah. No, nobody wants to hear as much as they want the Bob Dylan movie as a success. Nobody wants to hear that version.
No, I couldn't believe I seeked it out.
What?
The like years ago because I loved the Hendrix version, so I was like, I want to hear the original, and I was like, I was like, it just made me respect Hendrix that much more. Like that fact that he could hear that and be inspired to do one of the defining songs of the 60s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have you ever seen the live version of this where Michelle Phillips is eating a banana while they're lip syncing it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's hilarious. Because they were like clearly lip syncing, and I think they were like, she was just over it, so she just whips out a banana and starts eating it like while she's supposed to be singing. It's great.
I love that kind of stuff.
Gotta love that attitude.
Screw the man.
Screw the man, I'm gonna eat a banana.
Well, it's just like that story when the Doors went on
Oh,
Ed
yep.
Sullivan, and they'd want him to say higher.
Yeah, don't they want him to
Girl.
say better or something?
Girl, we couldn't get much better. And then I remember the movie where the moment was going to come up, and like Val
Yeah.
Kilmer got right in the camera and he went higher, and they were all like, "That son of a bitch!" And it's just like, he showed them. I remember that was like back when when we were in high school, the '60s were like 20 years removed, so a lot of '60s
Yeah.
movies were coming out, and I remember really thinking the Doors movie was pretty wild. I liked that one.
Yeah, I know. I like they talk about like, oh, if that movie came out today, it'd be the equivalent of a movie about 2004 or something. Like, oh
Yeah,
man.
I see a lot of that too, and it's it kind of blows your mind though.
Yeah, but I mean,
The-
I think that was a competent and passable version of California Dreamin'.
Yeah, no, I mean it's I think that the so far like aside, I mean, yeah, the first song was kind of like, but the singing is really good, like the vocal harmonies, and like the production is really good. Like it's very very crisp for like us. So that's why I'm saying that if you told me that this was somebody in the last like 20 years that were like doing like a parody of 60 songs, I'd be like, yeah, I'd believe that, because it sounds really clean, the quality.
Yeah, the quality is quite good, especially for like a live thing from the BBC. Yeah, and it's like this isn't usually my go-to favorite kind of music either, but I
No.
do love. I love the Mamas and the Papas. I thought they were awesome. Thought they had some really good songs. And I think this one is well done. So good on you, Flower Pot Men, with 2/5 of Deep Purple backing you. All right, the next one is actually we're going to Simon and Garfunkel. This is Flowers Never Bend with the Rainfall.
Through the corridors asleep, where shadows dark and deep, my mind dancing leaves in confusion. I don't know what is real, I can't touch what I feel, and I hide behind a shield of my illusion. So
Oh, a little
Yeah,
kind of country-ish,
slide guitar there.
country-ish twang to it.
my life will never end, and flowers never bend with the rainfall. You're on my wall, casting an image dark and small, but
I feel like this is this kind of stuff is just kind of like background music for me.
Yeah.
I mean, like if I walked into a room, if I walked into a room and this was playing, obviously, first of all, it would
You
be
turn
somebody
around
else's.
and walk out.
Well, first of all, it wouldn't be a room in my house, unless it was by accident. But no, I wouldn't be like, turn this shit off, unless you're trying to get everybody riled up.
Unless you're fixing for a fight.
No, but you know what I mean? It's not objectionable. You just have it on in the background and you're like, oh, yeah, this is
You can hear the
This is
organ in the
pleasant.
background. I just want to hear.
Is that John Lord? I was just thinking that. He's just, hey, there he is. Bow, beep. I mean, there was a short period in high school where I was like kind of fascinated with this period of time. So I did, borrow, like my brother had like the Doors CD set, and I bought like a, Janis Joplin album and, stuff like that, like Cream, Eric Clapton.
Yep.
Mostly,
I
I mean, really like more of the Hendrix type stuff, if you think about it, because I just named a bunch of harder bands in comparison to this kind of stuff. So I didn't like the poppy 60s stuff, but I mean the more rock and 60s stuff that led to the influencing of a lot of the musicians that we, grew up with. I like that a
your
little bit
hippie
better.
phase. You had those like you would get those like thrift store 60s shirts and
Yeah.
had the long hair and
Yeah, I was really trying to channel more of like the mid to late 70s, but whatever people associated with it, they were just like, yeah, that guy John, he's a throwback.
He's a throwback. Throw him back. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that picture of, I think it's my high school graduation party, and you and me are like in my garage, and there's like a picture. My parents found it like, I don't know, years ago, and like sent me a text of it or emailed it to me or something. And it's like, it
Yeah.
was when you were in that, you had the hair at its peak of that, and you were wearing like a cool shirt. I'll have to dig that out, put it in the show notes.
Yeah, you do, because I'm trying to remember, because I have a bunch of pictures. I'm sure you have a bunch that I don't have or haven't seen for a while.
I don't have a
but-
picture of us with the Flower Pot Men album standing next to a donkey, though.
Yeah, that was an odd
No
one.
memory of that happening. But you can't argue with it. It's not an AI hallucination. We were somehow standing by a donkey.
Nope.
For those of you that don't recall the story from many years ago, it's after we did our it was one of our, was it the first of the big bands or something, or the last of the
Yeah, it was
first
yep,
of the
yep.
big bands.
Mhm.
It's the Tony Ashton John Lord album, and after we recorded, I think you you texted me a picture, and it's you, me, and a couple of other friends at your house holding that album on vinyl, standing next to a donkey. It's just like, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I know this is real, but I do not remember anything about this incident other than
And we
being
talked-
at your house.
Yeah, and we talked about this on an early episode too, because obviously we started talking again after years of not really before, and it started the show, and so I was digging through a lot of old stuff, and that was one of the things that came up. And I mean, I know that I still have that album, so I mean, did I just show it to you and you're like, oh my God, like John has this album, or did I give it to you, or did I give you a copy? Like,
No,
I
I've
have
never
no
had
idea.
that. So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't
So
know
that was
if,
my
like,
copy.
maybe we had gone out that afternoon and like found it in a record store or something, and then decided that, maybe we just got out of the car and I was like, oh, there's a donkey there, let's pose for a photo. I don't know why I would have it. Also, why would I have it outside? Like, there wasn't a record player outside, so what's the point?
Well, you're just
It's
carrying it around.
just weird. I would like, people are like, oh, if you could be a fly on the wall or go back in time. I'm going to go back in time to that day to figure out what the hell led up to that picture.
What
being
were we
taken.
doing?
The fact that there was a donkey there was just, was it
Well,
a
I
donkey
mean,
or
also,
a
if
pony?
I-
I think it was a donkey.
I think it was a pony, because it was my parents' 4th of July party, if I
Yeah.
remember right, because there was a tent up in the background, and everything, and there were a lot of little kids in the family, and so they might have rented out a pony. They did that a couple of times, for like my brother's birthday when he was, like 5, 6, whatever, because we had a big backyard, and
Yep.
so they just had like pony renting money back in the day, I guess.
The times where there was their salad days.
Yeah, I remember
pony renting money.
I
You
wanted
know what
to
I bet it was? Pops
what?
called the pony rental places like, hey, we got a deal this week. if you rent the pony for at least 6 hours, you'll get a vinyl copy of First of the Big Bands by John Lord and Tony Ashton. And your dad
how
was
could
like,
I turn it
"Sold."
down?
I was only gonna do 4 hours, but I gotta go to a 6 hour rental now.
I remember that party when I was a kid, though. There was all those pictures of my brother on his friends on the horse and everything, and I wanted to get on, and they're just like, no, you're too heavy.
Too heavy.
Well, I was, because he's 4 years younger than me, so I was
yes.
older, I was big, or bigger. So they got it for a bunch of 6 or 7-year-olds,
Yeah.
not like a
No.
10 or 11-year-old. So I guess I was
I wanna
just
get
too
on
good.
the pony.
But I feel like they said it like, you're too big. Like I interpret it as just you're too big and fucking fat to get on this
Sorry,
horse.
lard ass.
That's what I heard. Sorry, lard ass. You
This
can't ride
po-
this pony.
This pony is for petite children only.
Body shaming. Ugh,
All right. Well,
bastards. All right, back to the episode.
Don't worry about that. We're gonna listen to another cover. This cover is a Beach Boys cover, which is fitting considering the things we've already talked about. And this is called "Don't Worry, Baby." Again, another competent performance.
Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah, I mean, definitely a nice passable version of this song.
And this is a short song, but this whole era of them playing with this backing band must have been very short, from as best I can tell, just for a few months.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and this was where they were kind of plucked right out of. I think John Lord and Nick Simper were very happy to be moving on to something else, because not that I don't think they hated it. This is, a good paying gig, but
well, you can't do it forever.
Yeah.
I
don't think this is where they wanted to be creatively.
I mean, it's still like it's a foreign concept to me, like in this day and age, of just like how so many people back in the 60s would just play each other's songs all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, like, now you're just like, yeah, I don't need one other version of like this hit song. Like,
right.
Why do we need like every single band doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it comes out of the era before that, when it was like most bands didn't write their own music, and that was something kind of that the Beatles did. Not that they were the only people to ever do that, but they kind of popularized it, or made it more of an expectation that bands would be writing their own music. And obviously financially it's a brilliant idea if your songs take off. But yeah, it comes out of like the 40s and 50s, where Frank Sinatra didn't write any songs. He just performed other songs or standards or whatever was around and written by other people, and that's just kind of what you did. But that being said, the last song on here that's performed by this group is called "A Walk in the Sky." This was written by John and Ken as a follow-up to "Let's Go to San Francisco." So let's check out this original song. So I think this one is it says this was an ambitious harmony-based lysergic pop song littered with some fairly standard day glow imagery about peppermint green clouds, chocolate bar trees, and the need to be back home for tea time, a key requisite of British psychedelia for some reason. So it says in the liner notes. But I think the reason, I know what the Beatles said, they were going to go have some tea. It meant they were going to go toke up. So it could be, I got to be home for tea, man. Oh, listen, that bass sounds good.
People were nuts back then.
Why? Because
Well,
they were
think about
smoking
it.
doobies all the time?
Well, yeah, think about it. I mean, what does that say about like real life? Nobody wanted to be part of it.
Yeah, they want to imagine chocolate trees and peppermint clouds. And
Yeah, actually, that sounds pretty good. I don't want to be part of real life now either. So let's go back.
Right now, the clouds are not peppermint; they're just pissing down rain on an already hot and gross day. More of a lead vocal on that one than we've heard so far.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's not like the John Lord we would get to know, but I hear a lot of John Lord here. I mean, you hear a little like, little keyboard that any schmuck could do in the background.
Yeah. It's like supposedly it's argued whether or not he played on You Really Got Me by the Kinks. That's another one that almost anybody with a day or two's worth of piano lessons could play. And I think you just got to get pros where you can just say these guys are way overqualified. We're doing some live stuff. I know this guy's not going to make any mistakes. This guy's going to play it the way we tell him to play it, and that's it. That was like a little 10-second jam at the end of this. That was really very short. I could see the waveform. I was like, wow, they're really going into like a whole new section with 10 seconds left in the song. But yeah, there you go. It's I don't know if these have been available in any format before, but this was kind of, like I said, I just on chance or reached out to Nick because I had a question about a photo I found, and he gave me some great background on it. And then he mentioned, because in the photo, I think he was with Ged Peck, and he said, oh, this was having something to do with the Flower Pot Men. And he's like, oh, by the way, they just released this anthology, and it has 5 tracks on it where me and John are playing together.
Oh.
Yeah, so
and you said, so that's a newer compilation, you said?
Yeah, it was
anthology?
released, I think, as we're recording this, it was released maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, when I reached out to the Cherry Red folks are really great. They've sent us a few promo things in the past, so it was nice of them to send that over.
Nice.
Yeah, so pretty cool little piece of history. But I think before we move on from our breezy summer format here, we should thank our next level of patrons, and then we can get into kind of wrapping up the stuff about the Flower Pot Men.
Sure.
And that is, of course, our foundation level patrons coming in at the £3.50 Deep Purple New York tier. We have Lord Longford. At the £3 Aromatic Feed tier, Simon Ford and Richard Brees. At the €3.50 tier, we have Weston Supermare Pilgrim. Did you see the text from Mark the other day when he was flying back from the UK? And he showed the little flight radar, in the plane. It shows you where the plane's flying. And he was flying over Weston Supermare. So he sent a
nice.
photos. Pretty cool. Then we have at the 293 pence tier, the one, the only.
Blackmore tights.
At the $3.33 halfway to evil tier, Stephen Sharp. At the $3 Nobody's Perfect tier, we have Peter Gardeau. Ian DeRosier. Mark Roback. Flying over Weston-super-Mare. We have Stuart McCord. Ivan Fjellbu. Runar Simonsen. Ruinous Inadequacies, Corey Morissette. Joe Dopefish Sigler. Adam Cork, Tim Wood, Steve Down to Earth Kohler, Michael, and Matt R. At the $1.71 I Want My Own tier, we have
Rich Yangui Shaylor. Who the hell is that?
At the Cold Hard Danish Kroner tier, Karsten Lau.
Cold Hard Danish Kroner.
And at the $1 made up name tier, we have the Flower Pot Grave. Leaky Mausoleum, Stephen Somerville, like a Cheeto 1999 Fanatic, Hank the Tank, Private Eyes, Ashen Lionel, Swapper the Electric Alchemist, Andres Engstrom, ICDC, Durple Purple, David Haddam, Graham Bonnet's Disco Pants and Haircuts.
I said, Graham, our audience expects you to be a bit more dirty.
Disco pants and haircuts, yeah.
I'm just going to put my guitar across his head.
Eddie Lyon.
Homosexual.
And Sick Tone.
Where is she? Where is she? She's just about to close up the library.
Thank you so much to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast. What would be better for Leaky Mausoleum for this one? Let's go to California Dying. A walk in
California Dying. Yeah.
I don't know.
Californication.
Californication.
I don't know. I like how when you can't come up with something for Leaky Mausoleum, you just let it fall flat. It's like a Johnny Carson. You just you go through with the joke anyway, and everybody's like, and you just embrace it.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes,
yeah,
Governor.
It's pretty dead. Pretty pathetic. Okay. So, so according to what I can find, the last gig that they would have had with the Flower Pot Men was February 24th, 1968. That is the last documented gig. There might have been gigs after that, but you got to figure less than 2 months later, they're going to be on stage as Roundabout playing their first ever show in Denmark. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. John Carter went on to write the song Beach Baby with his wife Gillian Shakespeare and recorded it with his group First Class. You know Beach Baby, right?
Yeah, Beach Baby, na na na.
Yep.
Right.
And that one's from the 70s. It's 1974, which to me,
Really?
I was surprised to hear that because it sounds so
60s.
Yeah. It was on like a American Top 40 with Casey Kasem. He says, now in American Top 40, I have that song that was launched by a criminal act, an act that could have cost the owner of a British record company at least a stiff fine. And then he goes on to talk about, what does he say? He's talking, last year, during the United Kingdom's severe energy crisis, a songwriter came to Jonathan's house with a master tape of a new song he'd just recorded. But he'd come up on a bad day of the week. You see, it was a day when the Britons were prohibited from using electricity because of the power shortage. And then he says, here it is, up to number 25 this week, Beach Baby by First Class. How do you feel about my Casey Kasem? It's pretty bad, right?
It sounds like something, but
not Casey Kasem.
No, it sounds like Nate doing a Casey Kasem impression, but it almost sounds like you're trying for Casey Kasem and you're doing something else, but I don't know what the something else is.
I'm always like Casey Kasem's always saying, well, he's like, blah, blah, blah. Well, blah, 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 blah. And like he's always
Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
Well,
Nancy. Yeah, now
I think it's when you said well, and I was like, okay, that's
See, if I'm trying to do Casey Kasem, I can sound like Ronald Reagan, but now that I'm thinking of Ronald Reagan, it's going to sound nothing like it.
You see that video of where he was like after his assassination and a balloon popped and he was doing a speech?
Was assassination attempt? Let's be clear.
Attempt. That's right, because he's not superhuman. No, but have you seen that video? It floats around sometimes.
No.
It's after his assassination attempt. He's speaking. A balloon
Like,
pops.
how
It sounds like
soon
a
after?
gunshot. Like whatever his next speaking engagement was.
Okay.
That they let him get in front of a crowd, and he's talking. You hear boom, and he's like saying a speech, and he pauses. He goes, "Missed me."
Oh, I think I have seen that.
And then the crowd was going wild.
Yeah,
It was
that takes some big brass ones to not even, because you'd figure you'd be like, ah.
The other one I like is where the video of the guy that threw the shoe at George Bush. and he was like, you saw him go like this. And
He was like a ninja. He was like Neo in the Matrix. He's just dodging those. That is a classic too.
Oh, that's great.
Just a little presidential fun for you folks.
All right, Nady Reagan.
Nady Reagan. So anyway, so yeah, it went up to number 25, I guess, on the that week. And the song has 2 instrumental passages in it. One of them is like a direct quote from Let's Go to San Francisco. So they kind of worked that in the song. There's like a 5-minute long version of that song too. But then he worked in something by the composer Sibelius, and apparently got them into a lot of trouble. They had to settle with the Sibelius estate. So they ended up, it was at the end of the song, they put all this instrumental weird stuff in, which I hadn't heard that version until I went and seeked it out. I'd only heard the 3-minute single version. So yeah, they edited it down, and then radio stations didn't want to get any more trouble because I guess Sibelius's family was just had their ear on the radio, just waiting to start some lawsuits. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of where they ended up. The band wasn't around for too much long. Believe it or not, this is a 3 CD set, so they were around long enough to record a fair amount of stuff. And one of the things I haven't even gotten to yet is I'd like to listen to some of the later stuff to see, maybe as it progressed. Usually I tend to like a band after it's been around for a little bit, had time to develop and kind of work together. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they kind of developed a little more in their later years. I will report back on that. But
you do that.
That's the little ditty that we have on the Flower Pot Men.
Little ditty. Have you been listening to the Golden Girls podcast?
Oh yeah, I guess I have. I have.
Yeah, well, so have I. It's one of my favorite podcasts now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We should do a podcast about the Golden Girls podcast.
All right, and then as soon as Rich does a podcast about our podcast.
Well, it's called the Golden Girls Deep Dive Podcast, so we'll have to call it the Golden Girls Deep Dive Podcast.
Hey, who knows? Maybe we can be on one day.
I doubt it. They get like A-listers on their show.
I just want to go on and just like one interview question. It's just like, what is the episode where Blanche goes, "Get out of here"? They'd probably know.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I should probably write into them and ask them that.
Right. Send them a letter. Go on their Facebook group and ask. What is the quintessential "get out of here"? We're looking for
actually
our show.
I'd have to leave like some of these podcasts that have like like voicemail boxes. You can leave them voice notes or something. That's the only way I could communicate exactly the "get out of here" that I'm looking for.
Do you think we should have? I think there's like ways to do it. Some podcasts do it. Should we have a voicemail line?
Yeah, why not? We got some hilarious listeners.
Yeah, we should do a voice. And I think there's one that you can like text. They can text or voicemail you. I don't know how it works, but
yeah, we should hook that up.
If people don't abuse it, if you guys get fresh, we're not going to play it on the show. Well, too fresh.
Yeah,
don't be fresh.
Hey, maybe we'll get one from Ralphie.
I'd love to hear Ralphie's voice. I can't help but notice that Ralphie's handwriting seems to have changed. Look, I'm trying to look back at some of my older Ralphie postcards. I'm detecting a change in Yeah, this is not the same Ralphie.
You ever thought that like Ralphie is like many different people?
That's what I think. Ralphie is
It's
like the Voltron.
An elaborate scheme.
Yeah. Well, not that elaborate. I think maybe with Ralphie they have agents in various states that could send.
Exactly.
And when I get further into the stack too, you'll see that it gets even crazier. So.
Oh, well, I can't wait.
All right. Well, thank you, folks. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you're enjoying our breezy summer format. This might be the only one that's that breezy, but
the light and breezy.
As John and I prepare to take some time off for the summer to do our various family fun plans and traveling and all that sort of stuff. So thank you so much to all of you. Check us out on Patreon. Check out deeppurplepodcast.com. And we will see you next week.
If you like the Deep Purple podcast and would like to support the show, please consider joining our Patreon or donating on PayPal. Patrons get full access to the podcast, Discord server, ratings, spreadsheets, and live stream invites. You can also leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help new people discover the show. You can follow the show on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, or Threads. You can also check out the website at deeppurplepodcast.com for show notes and more. Contact us via email at John or Nate at deeppurplepodcast.com. Thanks for listening.